So hello everyone, my name is Kenshin Fujiwara. I am a CEO and founder of HACARUS Inc. So we are an AI startup based out of Kyoto, Japan. And this time we are going to introduce our medical platform called Salus. And this time we'll be talking about actual use cases and the problems that we faced, and how we overcome these problems in actual environment. So before jumping into the actual topic, let me quickly introduce our product and services. So on the left side, you're seeing our product lineup. So we are different type of product for different type of industries. First one is called the Spectral. That is the visual inspection solution for manufacturing industry. So we use AI to do automated inspections. So we have a fully, features a package called Spectral. Underneath it, we have a edge AI called Coligo. So that's the AI that can perform all the AI tasks completely offline without connecting to the internet, and we are calling it Coligo. Salus is our medical platform, as I said, and I'll talk about more details later on. On the right side, we have services starting with AI Academy, and that's our training program for enterprises. So we provide a training program for people working at a large corporation, and we train them to become data scientists. That's basically what the service is all about. And underneath that, we have a consulting service. So we provide hands-on consulting service for the company to incorporate any type of AI into their business. And last one is application development, because no one cannot use AI without actual interface, actual application, actual systems. So we deploy all these apps and systems on top of the AI module that we produce. So these are the current lineup of product and services. And as for the technology, we have one slight uniqueness. As everyone know, these days, AI means deep learning. Machine learning means deep learning. AI means deep learning. So deep learning is basically AI. That's the current status of AI. However, we as a hackers don't use deep learning. Actually, we are trying to stay away from deep learning because it has some fundamental bottlenecks. So we're using something else called sparse modeling, as you are seeing it right now. So if you look at the formula, it's quite simple actually, and I'll talk about why we are using this sparse modeling in order to solve the problems in the medical field. So before going to the actual details, let me introduce actual application of our technology, sparse modeling. And this is something that done by someone else. This is not done by us. So sparse modeling was first introduced or applied to MRI images around like 2016. What you're seeing right now is the compressed images. So one on the left side is the image scanned 3 times faster than original speed. And the one that you're seeing on the right side is the image scanned 8 times faster than original speed. So as you increase the scanning speed, you are actually losing details, meaning that you are basically discarding important information by shortening the scanning time necessary. Because that makes sense, I guess, because if you accelerate at speed 10 times, basically you are discarding 90% of original data. You only have 10% of original data. However, if you apply sparse modeling, you can reconstruct the original image from these compressed images. So this technique has own name already. So it's based on sparse modeling, but this particular technology or particular use case is called compressive sensing. So all modern MRI machines has some type of sparse modeling compressive sensing mechanism built into these machines. So that's the first real world application of a sparse modeling technology. Again, this has nothing to do with our business, and this is not AI or machine learning at all. It's just a pure usage of a sparse modeling. Next is the application to black hole imaging. I'm sure many of you guys know about this huge iconic event that human finally discover the actual image of a black hole, because black hole, basically, takes all the light into the basically takes all the light, so you cannot capture the image. But scientists, use a sparse modeling to analyze the data they collected on the Earth using the huge, satellites, and they reconstructed the image of a black hole. I think using like 10 different satellites, and the amount of data we are talking here is very small, because basically you need a huge satellite, to capture the image of black hole. But for this one, the scientists are only using 10 satellites that are deployed on a planet, and they reconstructed the whole image coming from these 10 satellites. Again, it's very small data, but yet sparse modeling can reconstruct this kind of high quality image using small data set. That's one of the strengths of sparse modeling. And the last one is a couple of advantages of sparse modeling. So if you look at this table, this is actually a comparison sheet between different type of machine learning. So on the left side, we have something called SVM. It stands for Sport Vector Machine. And the one in the middle is a CNN, which is deep learning. And the last one is, of course, sparse modeling. So the image that you're seeing right now is the actual image of a solar panel containing some sort of a defect. And we are trying to use machine learning to detect these defects on the images. As for SVM and CNN, the scientists required 800 different images to train a model. However, sparse modeling only required 60 different images to train the model. And if you look at the last row, accuracy is same or better for the sparse modeling. Why? Because that's the benefit of a sparse modeling. It can abstract the important features of any given data set, regardless the amount of data set. So sparse modeling can successfully analyze the characteristic of any given data set and create a prediction model based on these small data set. That's the core strengths of sparse modeling. And we are using this sparse modeling to drive the fundamental AI engine for our applications. Okay. So this is the last slide to talk about technical aspect of sparse modeling. So I'm often asked, hey, what's the difference? What's the fundamental difference between typical machine learning, including deep learning and sparse modeling? This is the typical difference. So deep learning or machine learning in general is trying to solve the problem on the left side. So that is, given data set X, the goal is to find the way F, which stands for function, to drive the result Y, which is the predicted value. This particular problem is called direct problem. We are trying to find the function or some sort of formula that derive the result Y. So this problem is called a direct problem. Sparse modeling is trying to solve the opposite problem called the inverse problem. So sparse modeling is something that, given the observed value Y, if there's a given observed value Y, goal is to find the influence factor X. So the sparse modeling is not interested in finding the F, the function, how, how to derive the result Y. It's not interested in that matter. Sparse modeling interested in what makes Y, and why X is influencing factor. Again, we are utilizing this particular characteristic of a sparse modeling to create explainable AI. So we can come up with the influencing factors X, and the reasoning, why these X's, make Y, the result or prediction per se. So it's still, machine learning, part of machine learning, but it tries to solve the different type of the problem. So it's not competing against each other. It's actually complementing each other. So we are using the sparse modeling to try to solve the inverse problem here. Okay. So from now on, I'll be talking about our own real-world example in the medical field built on top of Salus platform. The first one is the early diagnosis AI for cervical cancer. And for this one, we are working with Kyoto University, one of the top-notch university here in Japan. Actually, we are based in Kyoto, so they are actually closest partner. And we are trying to solve this problem together with this university. And for those who don't know about the current situation around cervical cancer here in Japan, this is the status of the cancer type per 100,000 women at the moment. So when it comes to cancer for women, many people say that's the breast cancer. Breast cancer is the the biggest cancer that we need to solve. The answer was yes until 1990, but the situation has changed since 1990. As you can see this in the figure, cervical cancer is the #1 cancer type for the woman, at least here in Japan. So out of these 100,000 people, 35 people are actually having this type of cancer, which is cervical cancer. So this is a huge problem. However, there are few doctors who can actually do quality diagnosis for cervical cancer. There are many doctors who can do diagnosis of breast cancer using X-rays, even using AI these days. But there aren't many trained doctors, and there are no diagnosis AI for cervical cancer here in Japan at the moment. So this is the reason why we decided to tackle this problem together with Kyoto University. So here are the problems that we had to overcome. First one is a small data set. And we're talking about less than 100 patient data set. It's a very small data set. I don't think you can build a deep learning model using this amount of small data set. And as I said, even for this 100 data set, we still need to do annotation. However, there are few trained doctors here in Japan. So we were facing annotation problems. There are only few trained doctors who can do quality annotation. Luckily, one of them were working at Kyoto University. So we are working with these doctors at the moment. And for this diagnosis solution, doctors at Kyoto University strongly insisted that AI needs to have some sort of explainability, why AI came up with that solution. So that's the reason why we picked this sparse modeling. Okay. Next one is image analysis for liver cancer. Again, problem is the same, small data set. And for this one, we had to do a disease type classification in small areas, in risk areas. And we had to do identification about early stage cancer, and we're talking about less than 10 millimeter HCC. So again, using small data set, and we had to do classifications and identification. So again, this is where sparse modeling shines. We can deal with this kind of small data sets and yet create a prediction model with some sort of explainability. Okay. Next one is a multimodal brain stroke diagnosis AI. And this one we are making with a company called Ohara Pharmaceutical. This company is actually our investor. They decided to make an investment into us a few years ago. And since then, we've been working with them on this topic. Problems are quite similar. For this one, we had to deal with a multimodal scenario, meaning that we need to handle a different type of data set. But each data set is, again, very small. We're talking about very small data set, but yet we had to do classifications. Same story goes on. For this project, Ohara Pharmaceutical insisted AI needs to have some sort of explainability. Therefore, a deep learning wasn't an option in the first place. Okay. Last item that I want to talk about as a real world example at HACARUS is this one, heart disease diagnosis AI for animals. And for this one, we've been working with a company called DS Pharma Animal Health. And again, they are our current investor. For this project, we had to develop our own sensor device, as you are seeing on the right side. So there is a small computer inside the box, and all the AI is running inside the box, completely offline. So the problem that we had to deploy AI within the box without using GPUs. Our sparse modeling can run AI without GPUs. That's again another technological advantage of the sparse modeling. and we had to deploy the AI in a low profile hardware. And as I said, we had to develop a special sensor device to collect the ECG data from the animal. There wasn't such a device in the market, so we had to create one by ourselves. All right, so I hope that this real-world example gave you some idea why we decided to use sports modeling and the core strengths of sports modeling that we are using today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kenshin. So, is there any more things that you would like to add? Because we have 10 more minutes, so we will open the ground for Q&A. And let's see if you have any questions, you can always raise your questions via the Q&A section, and we will answer to you during the session, or you can contact Mr. Kenshin or Mr. Adrian after the session. Yeah. So let's see if there's no question at the moment. So if there's anything that you would like to add on, you can always let us know. Mr. Kenshin-san, do you want to continue with any?
May I?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because 10 minutes is more than enough to talk about our entire company history. So let me continue.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So
yes,
this is not everything. So we are extending the capability of our Salus platform, which is our medical AI platform, and we are applying it to drug discovery these days. I think this is one of your audience interests these days. So before in talking about the drug discovery, let me talk about the application to materials informatics. This is outside of the medical scope. So sports modeling is already proven to work. Sorry, somehow my auto scroll is functioning without my interruption. So sorry for switching side back and forth. So sports modeling is already proven to be effective in this field. So materials informatics is a way to come up with potential materials using computers. So instead of human researchers doing a lot of experiments to come up with potential materials, we use computers or AI or machine learning to do the same. So it's called materials informatics. So the needs are the following. In order to develop the material with desired characteristics from combination of various types of materials, that's the one of the needs. And yet people want to narrow down the materials candidates from the data, since human trial and error requires numerous number of experience time. I think you can imagine, why that is. Typical material informatics, again, it depends on what kind of materials you want to develop, easily takes years, to come up with the best materials or best combination of materials if done by human. Sports modeling actually shortened this development time a lot, and it's already proven, and it's already published in academic papers. So application of sports modeling to materials in informatics known as MI is the following. So we apply researchers' domain knowledge together with the data set to come up with the potential materials. So as I said, sports modeling can handle a small data set. However, in order to complement that small data set, we often incorporate human domain knowledge. For instance, for MRI, we always talk to doctors and they see exactly where doctor is looking at, on the images. Same story goes for this one. So we incorporated research domain knowledge and combined them with machine learning based on sports modeling. And successfully, that model came up with the few material candidates with desired characteristic. If you are interested, you can actually search for the this title at the bottom, Oriented Material Informatics for Efficient Exploration. A whole story is written there. So this is one of the proven usages of sports modeling for material informatics. And the same story goes to drug discovery, because drug discovery is basically coming up with the best chemical compound or desired chemical compound with desired characteristic. The story is exactly the same. It's just a different outcome. So we're trying to apply sports modeling to view the why. Why these chemical compounds have a desired characteristic. And again, we are combining human domain knowledge with sports modeling. and the compound research, based on the genomic information and the patient reactivity information as well. So we can also do extraction of the target diseases by comprehensive research of a database, stored in the company. That we can do as well. And for medical fair Asia, we're actually demonstrating something else called the partial automation of drug discovery process, and which is this one. So this time we are working with a company called Mitsubishi Electric to automate some of the drug discovery process using robot arm and or visual analysis AI. So robot arm will basically, handles the actual material handling. Basically, robot arm does materials handling, and the robot sets the plate in microscope, and the AI captures the image of the scope containing the different type of cells, actual living cells, and the AI will analyze that image, and it does cell type classification. So what type of cancer is in what stage, if it's a stem cell, is it differentiating or not? AI can do all these analysis fully automated way. So we are combining robot to handle the physical activities, and using AI to do image analysis. So you can see the entire demonstration at our virtual booth at this event, Medical Fair Asia. So please have a look at it after this speech. Thank you very much.